Hi everyone, this is Debbie from Project 39 Mini Albums. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make something a little different than a normal mini album. This is actually going to be a turkey for your Thanksgiving decor. The paper pad I used was the Plaid Pumpkin Patch from Country Craft Creations, and I already introduced that paper in a design team haul, so I'll put a link so you can go check that out. But I loved the different plaid that was in it and wanted to utilize it for Thanksgiving. So let me show you a little more details about the project, and then we're going to make it together if you want to grab some supplies. So here is the turkey, and as you can see, it's made up of 3 separate rosettes that are quite large, and then there is the turkey, and then these little circles to sort of as wings and to hold it together. Now the turkey, I just drew myself from looking at a picture of a turkey, but I will put it in the files in the Facebook page of Scrapbookers of Country Craft Creations if you want to print it out and cut it and use that as a template. Something you might want to do is you could add googly eyes to this one. If I can find some, I might add one to the one that I'm going to make with you. I also put this on, and I can't show you this all together, but you probably saw it in the picture. So I cut a big circle. I backed it with just some cardstock I had, some heavy duty cardstock. You could use the artisan cardstock or the heavyweight artisan cardstock. And then I fussy cut some of the images from the paper of Plaid Pumpkin Patch because it had these beautiful squash and pumpkins. And this one I just sort of backed with just a couple of strips of paper just so it would sit straight. I put a pumpkin behind this so it's a little dimensional. And then this one I put on the sunflowers, and I made a ring of just some scraps of the paper and put some of the sunflowers, some of the leaves, sunflowers leaves. Here's some of the squash and pumpkins, and just glued it on and made it a little dimensional. I popped up a little leaf. So you can go crazy. I mean, there's beautiful pumpkin and squash in this paper collection, or you could just use the sunflowers if you wanted to. So the sky's the limit as far as how you want to decorate this circle. And as you can see, I didn't adhere everything. I just wanted to make it a little more portable because I'll probably bring it with me for Thanksgiving. So let's move all this stuff aside and get started. Now I am going to be using the Autumn Orchard paper collection to make my next turkey. And this again is from Country Craft Creations. This was provided to me as a design team in one of the packages. And obviously the colors are totally different. So this is going to come out a little different, and we'll have to decide which one we like better. I also was going to use the Bountiful Blessings paper, but I had made a mini album with it and didn't have that much left. But I mean, wouldn't this paper look fabulous as one of the rings of the feathers, or one of the rosettes? And the same with this. So if you have this paper, I'd love to see if you make the turkey with it, and share it with us so we can see what it looks like. But, so the papers I grabbed from the Autumn Orchard. To make the rosette, you will need 4 pieces. Where's my 4th one? Oh, there it is. 4 pieces, 6 inches by 12. You will need 3 pieces, 5 inches by 12. And 3 pieces, 4 inches by 12. So you'll need 2 sheets of the paper for the largest rosette, 2 sheets, you won't use them all, for the middle rosette, and you'll need 1 sheet for the smallest rosette. So I'm going to grab my scoreboard, and I am going to start with the smallest piece, and I'm not going to join it together. I am going to just score actually all of these pieces at 1/2 inch. So start at half, 1, 1 1/2, 2, 2 1/2, 3, etc., etc., etc. So I am going to go ahead and do all these, and I'm going to do it in fast motion so you're not watching me score 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 more pieces, but you're going to score it all at 1/2 inch. I'm going to go ahead and score the rest of these at 1/2 inch, but we'll just get it all done so you're not sitting here watching me do the scoring. Okay, these are the smallest pieces, and before I start the accordion part of it, I'm going to grab a scissors, and the last piece of the 1/2 inch always seems to be just a little bit bigger, so I'm just going to take a little bit off of that, somewhere between 1/8 of an inch and 1/16 of an inch, and I will take that off of each of the, which way did I do it? See, this one looks a little bit bigger. Each of the pieces. So just a smidgen. And then I'm going to fold this, the last fold on the right, and I'm going to take one, put glue on here. I'm using the Art Glitter Designer Dries Clear Adhesive, and I've already folded that, so I'll just put that in there, and it stops at the fold, and that will lay flat. All right, and then I will do the same with this. I'll add some adhesive here and take the piece on the left and put it with that piece on the right. And there we go. And then I will start accordion folding this, one up, one down. Really, because it's so long, it's easier if you just do it by sections. So I will do this 12-inch piece and then grab my bone folder and burnish it. So I've got that. I'm going to straighten it up, grab my bone folder, and burnish. And then I'm going to take that one and go from there and just go back and forth, you know, like an accordion. Some people do it on the edge of their table and it makes it easier, but whatever works for you. And I want you to do all 3 of these pieces, and then at the end we're going to attach it, make a big circle. I'm sure you've all made rosettes. Oh, and one note I wanted to tell you, on the Plaid Pumpkin Patch turkey, I did use a die for the edges. I don't have any edge punches, so I used a die. This one I'm not going to. I'm going to do it without changing the edges at all, just to show you a different look. But if you have an edge punch or an edge die, then go ahead and do it. Do it before you score the 1/2 inch scores, and do it before you attach the papers together, so that way you can put it in through your die cutting machine or If you have a punch, it really doesn't matter. You can do it after you've attached everything, but definitely do it before you do this accordion folding. And if you want to, you can also grab some ink and ink the edges. On the Plaid Pumpkin Patch turkey, I did ink the edges, but very faintly with a vintage photo. It doesn't really show up that vibrantly, that great. All right, got all that. So that's all done like that. Now I'm going to attach this together, and I think I'm going to have to cut one of these off. Yep, I'm going to cut one of these off entirely because you sort of need an odd number. Come here, you. I'm going to put glue here. Oops. And attach this together. Oops, I'm sorry, it's folding all over the place. But and I'll tell you one thing about this Country Craft Creations paper is it takes inks fabulously. It's the best. All right, now I cut out some circles. I think these are 1.5 inches, but the size is not that important as long as it's going to cover this hole. So you don't need anything. I mean, could you probably use 1/2 inch, but 1 inch might be the smallest one I'd use. And you can use the Country Craft or the Art Glitter Glue, but it's so much easier if you use a hot glue gun. So actually I'm going to start on the back first. This is the back side. And I am going to put glue just around the circle. And you sort of have to work fast because you don't want it to cool. And then I'm going to push it all together as tight as you can and put your circle on top. Keep it together so it's tight. And just hold it for a couple of seconds until it cools down. Okay, so we've got the back and that's nice and tight. Now we're going to turn this over, and this is the front. This is the smallest one, so you have to do something a little different because we're going to be putting the turkey head in here. So I'm going to take my little circle and I'm going to cut it in half, and I'm just going to fold it a little bit, maybe about halfway, maybe about 1/3 of the way. So we've got it just folded, just with a right angle, so like that. So now I'm going to add hot glue to one side of the circle. I mean, it's pretty tight because we've already done this part, so it's pretty tight. And then I'm going to take half of the circle and determine where a halfway mark is. Actually, let's go here. So you sort of have just about an even number of folds on one side as the other, and where the fold is on that, so it's going to go right in the middle. You see what I've done there? Let me come in a little closer so you can see. So I pulled all of the folds to one side, put the glue on the other side, and put my half circle with the fold on the edge. We're going to do the same for the other side. I'm going to add some hot glue here. And I'll take my other half circle with the fold, and I'm going to put it on this side. So just like that. And you'll be able to put your bone folder in the center. Now let me come out so you can get a better view of it. Okay, so the bone folder can go in the center there. All right, so now with the other two circles, we're going to, so this one I've already folded. I've attached the sides. I'm going to cut off just 1/2 inch section. It's about a 1/2 inch section. It's not perfect. And put it over this one. So I have made a complete circle. And we're going to do the same. I'm going to turn it over and do the back side first. I don't think it matters, but I always do it that way. And on these we're going to do complete circles on both sides. I'm going to put that on there, put it in tight. You know, I saw Anne Marie when she was doing smaller roses, Anne Marie Chelsky, when she was making rosettes, she was making smaller ones. She had a circular cookie cutter, so everything would be perfectly circular. And I thought that was genius. But, of course, you don't have a cookie cutter this big. I suppose you could use like a cheesecake pan. But to be honest, if this is not perfectly circular, it's not a big deal. That's pretty circular. Isn't that pretty? All right, let's turn it over this way. And that's even prettier. Looks like a spirograph circle. And we will put this one and push that circle on. And you still want to do it when it's fairly hot, but not hot enough to burn your fingers, because you want to push that glue into the different folds so it stays the way it needs to. Gosh, that's gorgeous. And I think this is nice even without the edges. So now I have one more to do. I will do this in fast motion. I'm looking at this thinking, you know, I probably could have used a plain turquoise for the center of that one. Just because that's common to all of these, but I'm not going to worry about it. But you can change the colors as you feel it needs to. All right, now we're going to put this aside and we're going to do the turkey head. Put the turkey head on the small rosette before we join these three pieces together. All right, now we are going to cut out the turkey head. If you have a piece of lightweight chipboard, and Country Craft Creations sells some, you need to get a couple of pieces and keep it on hand because it works for all sorts of projects. Use lightweight chipboard or maybe 1 or 2 sheets of heavyweight cardstock, and determine what you're going to use for the turkey head. So I'm going to use this paper, and this is the part that's going to go close to the body. I'm going to put this turkey head on here so that the truck doesn't come into the picture. And when I turn this over, so the turkey head will be over on this side, here's where his beak will be, and the truck won't be in that picture either. I think it's going to be pretty with this color for the face and then the leaves on part of the turkey body. So you can either glue everything together, glue the sheet together, or cut it and then glue it together. I think what I'm going to do is glue most of it together, but don't glue the feet together because you'll want the feet to be able to open up a little. Like, see how these feet are? They're spread apart just to help balance it down. So I did not adhere everything to that. As a matter of fact, if you wanted to, you could keep it open and add another piece of cardstock, one piece attached to each of the leg. So I am going to go ahead and put this down and cut it out. So I need to do it this way, over here. I'll glue everything together except for the feet. And then one thing I do is use, if you have a tape runner, some temporary adhesive. So I just put a couple of dots of my ATG on here. It's going to go down towards the bottom just to hold my pattern in place. Okay, pattern, stay in place. I didn't put that much on because I didn't want to overdo it. Okay, then I'll just grab my scissors. Now you could also cut out the pattern and use that and trace onto your paper. But my scissors are strong enough that I can go through all of these at one time. And there we go. How do you like that? So I need to cut the legs a little bit, but before I do that, I'm going to grab another piece of the chipboard. And so I've got chipboard for the bottom leg. I'm going to just make sure he's glued. And I'm going to cut that down because, as you can see on the pattern, I still have about ½ an inch to go. And then I'm going to add that. Go this way. And adhere that to the top leg. And just cut that out. So now you've got a piece of chipboard attached to each leg. And then I'm going to glue this all together because I didn't do a good job when I was cutting it, just because I wanted to save the paper. And then on this guy, so because he's a light color, I inked around the edges just to give some definition, and inked with some yellow and some reddish orange for the, y'all know what that's called, wattle? I don't know if that's the wattle, but for the beak and whatever that red thing is hanging, and for the feet. Now obviously on this it's different, but I still think I'll do a little yellow and a little red just to make it, and I might as well ink around the edges with some maybe walnut stain. I have some Distress Oxide in yellow. which will just add a touch of color to the beak. And let's find some red for that thing. I don't have a red, I have candied apple red. I mean, you could probably use alcohol marker. You could use a colored pencil maybe, or even if you wanted to, just cut a plain piece of paper to go over that. Whatever you feel like doing. Okay, there is that. And then I'm going to grab my walnut stain. I had to add a little more ink to it. And I will just go around the edges. And like I said, this paper really takes stain well, but just to add a little more definition, I'm taking my scissors and going around the edge, because look at how much definition that adds to it. So on this one, eventually I'm going to see if I can find a googly eye. I don't know that I have one right now, but I will dig one up. All right, so now let's clean our area. The smallest rosette. And so what we want is for the turkey to balance on the rosette. So practice it, dry fit before you do, and make sure that it's going to stand up. Now you may have to trim the feet a little bit. Just play with it a little bit and see what you need to do. But I think I've got it just the way it needs to be. I'm going to take a little glue and put some hot glue on the edge of the turkey. I guess you could put it in the rosette, but I do things the hard way. And then you don't have much time to work, so make sure he's going to stand. Okay, and I suppose if you needed to, you could cut the bottom of the rosette to make that flat, just to help your turkey stand. Which is what I will have to do. I think the turkey had a little bit too much cocktails. All right, now we're going to grab a hole punch, and if you want, you can probably even use a die if you have a die, and you can use a scallop punch. I mean, I've got a scallop punch like that, but that's too small for what I want. I'm going to use a punch this size. So you're going to make 4, 3. 1, 2, 3. So you'll need 6 punches, 6 circles, 3 for each side. So let's go ahead and do that, and then I'll show you what to do with that. Okay, the circles that I punched were 2 inches, so we're going to score in a half. You could just fold it if you wanted to, but my scoreboard is here, so I'm going to score all of these at 1 inch, which is directly in half of that. And again, if you wanted to, you could just fold it. So now that we've got that, we're going to put them together. So we're going to fold them in half, and we'll take 1/2 of one and match it up with another and just glue them together. And then we're going to fold that and match it up with another one and put that together. Then leave that one alone, go to another circle, match up one circle with that, fold that, add some glue, and match that up. And because mine didn't cut that well, I'm going to ink around the edges. I just see some white of the core of the paper, and I just don't like it. So I'm just going to ink around the edges just to hide the fact that I wasn't patient and punched real quick. And I know I need to either use sandpaper or aluminum foil in my punch just to sharpen the edges. I just haven't done that yet. Okay, so now you have 2 sets of 3 circles, and what we're going to do is, and you could either use hot glue or the art glitter glue, and I'm going to use the art glitter glue because it works fine for me. And you're going to put it just to cover up where the center piece is and help stabilize the turkey. You know, turkeys, they're a little wonky sometimes. So that'll go in there. And then we'll do the other side. Whoops, where is my, there it is. Just make sure you have them even when you are putting it on. There we go. So it's decorative. It helps hold it together. You can do larger, you can do smaller. I mean, larger might be prettier. All right, then let us put everything together. Now in this case, I probably would recommend using hot glue, and just look and make sure everything is centered. You want the same distance. So there's about 1 inch from the edge of here to the edge of here. This is a little larger, so we'll make it there. And you're going to all pull it down to the bottom, so the bottoms of all 3 are lined up. That's most important. So I am going to take this off carefully, and I am going to add some glue right to the center here and make sure that this is lined up, and then push that down and hold it for a couple of minutes. And then I'll add some glue to this one. And again, make sure that's centered and down to the bottom, and hold it for a couple of seconds and make sure it will stand. Alrighty. Alright, turkey's done. We're going to let the turkey dry. Again, if it doesn't sit flat, you can just cut along the bottom here, make a flat surface. Maybe we should have done that ahead of time, but I haven't had any problems with my turkeys not wobbling. Alright, now let us move this away. And we're going to grab a piece of paper for the base. And again, you could take some lightweight chipboard and adhere it to whatever you're going to use for the base. I am going to grab my a circle. So you can grab a dinner plate or something that will fit within 12 inches. Okay, I found something that's circular. Take a pen, a marker, something. Draw a circle. I gotta hurry up and put this away or else my husband's gonna think I'm gonna cook. Okay, so here's my circular base. I use this deep purple plum color with the leaves on it. And I also have some cream of flower leaves from Country Craft Creations. And I thought I would just adhere these to the base. Maybe pop them up and have them a little dimensional, just not so they're that flat. And then also hot glue my turkey. And there's sort of an overview of the turkey. Let me... So anyhow, beautiful, rich colors. You know what else you could do is you could take the turkey and put a little hanger on the back and put them on your door. And I think actually that's what I might do with this one, because I already have my other turkey for the table. And I think this one might just go on my door of my RV. Just have leaves. I'm not sure what I'll do with the leaves. If I put it on the base, I'm going to put the leaves on some dimensional tape. If I hang them from my RV, he's going to have a loop and go. So that is how I made my turkey from the Autumn Orchard collection from Country Craft Creations, and also the Plaid Pumpkin Patch turkey from Country Craft Creations. You know, both different, but obviously similar, and I'm sure you can do all sorts of things using the materials available from Country Craft Creations. So thanks so much for watching. Have a fabulous day.